One of the main reasons I wanted to go to Charleston, South Carolina, is because they just opened up the International African American Museum. So, in this video, we are going to talk about the International African American Museum. So, I'm Donna.
And I'm Will.
And this is Journey with Donna and Will.
The African American History Museum in Charleston is located at Gadsden's Wharf.
The outside of the building has about 18 pillars because the architect indicated that the ground was sacred. He wanted, to emphasize the ground. 40%, so they came through this particular port.
And inside the museum, you'll see on display information and artifacts from ancient Africa civilization to modern times.
The different areas talk about the different African countries that were affected by this transatlantic trade. There were also the tools and the knowledge that the Africans came with that is discussed. They also had a place where they had the names of the Africans, their African names, prior to being changed once they got over here, along with more recent information about the attacks after the emancipation. It also talked about the milestones and the victories that happened.
Yeah, it also had a genealogy and ancestry research center, where we actually had the opportunity to take a class by one of a volunteer there. Anyway, he gave some tips on researching your ancestry.
In the museum, they had, different setups. They had this praise center. They had, a bookstore. And you can also purchase souvenirs. We were able to get a t-shirt from there with the logo.
The museum's logo points upward to reflect our ongoing aspirations for racial justice and social equity.
So one of the parts that I really liked at the museum is they have the acronym IAAM, and they kind of delit one of the A's, so it says I am, and then they have all these pictures of African American people in the background. I thought that was kind of classy, kind of clever to put that in, like I am, all these people that make up the African diaspora. So I really thought that was clever what the museum did there.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
But one of the things, there was this statement: who tells the story? Who tells your story? And reframing the narrative, and that's kind of like my whole thing. This narrative that has been told about African American people is just not who we are. I mean, there are just, we're not a monolithic people, but there's been a narrative that I think does not tell all the great things that African American people do.
That's why the museum itself is so important. And it just tells the true history that everyone, not just African Americans, but everyone can benefit from.
Right. One of the interesting things that I didn't realize was the rice plantation. A lot of times people think the enslaved, basically worked in the cotton fields. I even, thought about the tobacco fields, but I really never thought about the rice that was made, because that's how Charleston made their wealth. A lot was from the rice. And the interesting thing is, rice plantations from West Africa go back before BC, like 3,000 years ago. The West Africans that were kidnapped and brought over knew how to cultivate rice. And I'm mentioning that because, there's this theory slavery benefited Africans. The benefit was for those who kidnapped and brought people over, because they didn't know about that. The Africans showed them that, as well as blacksmith,
The
skill
Africans
sets.
came with skills that the Americans were able to unfortunately exploit in a bad way. And yeah, so I agree. Definitely, they came with skills and their own culture, language, so forth that they were able to use here.
Right. The museum covered the current and modern times.
Like scientists, like the astronaut Ronald McNair, politicians like James Clyburn. It had, I think, Barack Obama. So yeah, it just covers the whole range of African American history in
Right.
America.
They had classes on doing genealogy. One of my ancestors, in the census said it came from Africa. He had mentioned that somebody they determined what ship they came on over, and he kind of told me about this website called the slavevoyage.org. One of the things I didn't know before was the Atlantic trade, and what that is between the Americas, the going from Brazil up to Charleston and back. If they didn't have enough people to work, the enslaved would be sent between the Americas, which I didn't really know too much about that. But some of that information is in that particular website.
But yeah, it was a good class. Overall, even the folks who worked there at the museum, they're all very knowledgeable, very welcoming. The whole atmosphere was just, I think, very well done.
Museum, the International African American Museum, and I believe it's called International because it covers the whole diaspora, not just in North America. There. So the museum was full of a lot of information, and I was glad that we were able to go.
I enjoyed it very much. I would go back.
Okay. So I'm Donna.
And I'm Will.
And this has been Journey with Donna and Will. Please subscribe, like, and share, and we'll see you next time.